So today I want to talk about why prophets must rise and why they must rise now. Habakkuk 2:1 says, I will stand up on my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me. I want to start by asking you a question. Do you feel it? The weight. That sense that something is breaking. The earth, the systems, the old certainties, and that you are being called to do something about it. Not someday, but now. If you do, this show is for you. My name is Ambrose Carroll, and I'm a pastor, a nonprofit builder, an American man with 30 years in the pulpit and 16 years organizing communities around justice and renewal. And I've spent my whole life watching prophets, some famous, most not famous at all, rise up in their own time and answer the call of their generation. This is a show about that calling, about what it means to be a prophet in 2026, about how to build something that lasts, and about how to keep your soul intact while you're doing the hard work of repair. So let me tell you where this comes from. In the Bible or in history books, a prophet is someone who sees what's broken and refuses to accept it, someone who speaks truth even when it costs them, someone who builds alternatives because the old way is dying. Harriet Beecher Stowe was a prophet. She used her pen to expose evil. Henry Lloyd Garrison was a prophet. He spent his whole life demanding abolition when most people said it was impossible. Nat Turner was a prophet. He refused to bow and paid the ultimate price. But here's what I want you to understand. Prophets aren't just radical revolutionaries or famous names in textbooks. A prophet is a pastor who decides their church is going to transition to solar power and community ownership. A prophet is a nonprofit founder who says, I'm going to build something that serves my people instead of waiting for someone else to do it. A prophet is a therapist who decides to create safe space for people of faith to heal. A prophet is anyone who feels the weight of this moment and refuses to look away. And that's who I'm talking to on this show. I wrote a book called Green the Church, a revival framework for knowledge, action, and power. And what that book tries to do is name something that I've been living for the last 16 years. That the work of justice, the work of environmental healing, the work of building power in our communities, that's not separate from our faith. It is an expression of our faith. The three pillars that guide Green the Church are amplifying green liberation theology, promoting sustainable practices, building power for political and economic change. That framework didn't come from theory. It came from the ground, from pastors and organizers and young clergy who felt the call and didn't know how to move, from churches that wanted to do better but didn't have the tools, from a generation that's tired of waiting for someone else to fix things. This show is built on the same soil. Every episode you hear on Prophets Rising comes from real work, real struggle, real wins, and real losses too. Because prophetic work is not romantic. It is hard. It's long, and it requires more than passion. It requires frameworks, community, and the kind of spiritual grounding that helps you stay in the work when everything in you wants to quit. That's what we're here to build together. Over the next weeks and months, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about starting nonprofits. I built them, and I've learned what works and what doesn't. We're going to talk about faith and innovation, about how a church can become a site of community power through renewable energy and economic development. We're going to talk about what it means to pastor for 30 years and still believe change is possible. And we're going to talk about what happens right now in our community and our world, and what prophetic voices are called to do in response. But before we go any further, I want to be clear. This is not a show for passive listeners. If you're here because you're curious, that's good. But if you're here because you feel called, because you know in your bones that something has to shift and you're willing to be a part of that shift, then welcome home. Because that's what a prophet is. Not someone with all of the answers, not someone who has it all figured out. A prophet is someone who says yes to the call, even when they don't know exactly what comes next. I'm Ambrose Carroll, and I'm inviting you to rise. I started this episode with a question. Do you feel it? That weight, that restlessness, that sense that something is breaking and that something in you is saying, I have a part to play in this. I want you to hear me clearly. That feeling is not an accident. That restlessness is not a malfunction. That is the prophetic call working down on the inside. The question has never been whether the call is real. The question is always, will you answer the call? Every generation produces its prophets. The ones who speak when speaking costs something. The ones who build when the old structures are crumbling. The ones who stay in the work long after the inspiration has faded, because they know the work is bigger than how they feel on any given day. This generation needs its prophets too. And I genuinely believe that some of them are listening to this show right now. So here's what I'm asking of you. Come back and check out the next show. Bring someone with you who needs to hear this and start sitting with the question seriously. What is the thing I am called to build? Not someday, but now. I'm Ambrose Carroll, and this is Prophets Rising. Let's rise.